hold on, brother Radio One, hold on. It looks like Gideon from the avatar. Can you please use a webcam, brother?
Oh yeah, Gideon.
Thank you. All right. Well, hold that thought, Radio One. Feel free to speak, Gideon.
Yeah, peace to you, brother. Shalom, all praises to the Most High in the
Peace.
name of Yahshua HaMashiach. Uh, yeah, no, I'm just, watching every night, then I always drop in on your show. I definitely support, as far as what you think you're doing, because you want to help black people. You know what I'm saying? But I came on, I'm listening to this brother at the top, right? Like, I mean, for one, you can't get past historical facts, and then two, uh, if you want to have some disdain for Israel, I mean, you can have that, but it's not because we hate the black man, because we are the black man.
Well, we can talk about it in details. Now, you said historical facts. What historical facts are you talking about?
So, Shaka, would you say there was a nation of people called Israel in the Levant?
Well, there is mention of Israel as a place in the Mishnah Stela or Moabite stone. What does it have to do with black people?
Okay, okay, and that's a perfect logical step in your trying to see if these people are us. So we do know that there are people called Israel in the Levant, right? So
Hold on. Can you just repeat what you said? We do know that there's what?
a people called Israel in the Levant
Well,
that,
Israel is the place, not people.
well, when we look at the evidence, it's describing a people. It's describing dynasties and kings and houses of royalty. So when you have a house of royalty, they must rule over someone. You have
Is that historical record? Is that historical record? I mean, are you going according to historical record, or is that your religious belief? Is that
no,
something you got from your
I'm
religion?
speaking I'm speaking according to the finds. According to the finds in the area, there were a people, a nation of Judah in the Levant. Like, we
Yeah,
can
Judah,
nitpick.
yes,
Aha,
Judah, yes,
aha.
yes.
Now you're
Now,
getting somewhere.
yeah, Judah, yes, it's a region that existed, and we have the king of Judah called Hezekiah, and I'm sure you've seen my intro. We have Hezekiah's seal, his royal seal, with two unks and the sun Windis, but the sun Windis was not exclusive to Kemet. We saw it also in, Mesopotamia, Sumer, and so on. But maybe you're trying to argue that we have what we translate as Israelites, and that I would like to see. Israel, yes, in the Mesha stele, known as, I'm sorry, yes, Mesha stele, known as the Moabite stone, even though several scholars dispute its authenticity, but in presuming that it is authentic, it talks about the place, not the people. So if you are aware of any term that is translated as Israelites in English in history, then feel free to share it with us so we can see how old it is.
Right. So when we look at the evidence, and it speaks of how Israel was laid waste, we did not call ourselves Israelites. We were Yasharal. And those who lived amongst us, that's what we called ourselves.
Well,
So
brother, please, that term Yashara, what archaeological document mentions that name?
when you look at the Mobile stone, it says Yasharal is laid waste.
Yeah.
That's how
See,
it's
Oh, okay,
translated.
okay, okay. So that's the term Israel.
Right, Yasharal.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
right.
okay. Now, Yashara, that's Hebrew, right?
Correct.
Okay. Does it mean Israel or does it mean Israelite?
It means Israel and Israelite.
Okay. Are you talking about the Meron Peta stela or are you talking about the Misha stela?
No, right now my last was speaking of the Misha Stealer, which is also
Okay.
the Mobile stone.
Okay. Well, let's have a look together because we do have the transliteration and the translation also on Wikipedia. So I'm going to put Misha stela, Misha stele. So here we do have the translation. So for the term, is it large enough? Yeah, it's kind of large enough. So Israel, we have it here. Now, as for Omri, king of Israel. So, what's the term Melech? Yeah, you see here we have Yishral. So that's probably what you're pronouncing as Yasharal, right?
Correct.
All right. So here it says king of Israel. And of course, also have Melech, just like in Arabic, Malik, Melech. So it doesn't talk about people here. It talks about the ruler of Israel. It's translated as king of Israel. So that cannot be the term to describe Israelites. Do we agree or do you disagree?
Okay, Shaka. Okay, Shaka. I mean, but I don't like the king of. Okay, the queen of England. Who did she rule over? The English. English is synonymous with Israelite in the sense of how it's colloquially spoken, meaning it belongs to a nation or a people of a nation. So when you see Omri, king of Yasharal, he's ruling over Yasharal, which is Israelites, which is the term that we use today to denote the people of Yasharal. Uh, so this
Well,
the thing,
but
Shaka,
you,
but
you you know
it's
you know
like
that's not exact, right? Because there's a difference between Israel and Israelites. Now, if you want to argue that back then they didn't have a
what's the difference between Yasharal being a body of people and Yasharal being an individual? It's the same thing. It's just the context of how you speaking it. Like you guys want to get bogged down in the minutia of how you pronouncing it when you know what we're talking about. Like let's get to the issues that's really pertinent that because we all know Israel was a nation and was a people which came to be the nation of Judah or the kingdom of Judah in the up to the first century AD. Like these things we know. So like
well,
it's
hold
like
on, hold on, hold on, hold
y'all
on,
starting from the beginning
hold on,
because y'all
hold
don't
on,
want to
Gideon.
get to the
Gideon, give me a
information.
chance,
But go
please.
ahead.
Yeah, give me a chance, please, Gideon. I think it's important because a lot of people claim Israelites, you see. So if you want to argue, okay, there was no term that is translated as Israelites, I'm like, fine. If you want to say the term that they use is Israel, I'm like, fine. Okay, so we can take it from there. But then you guys need to stop saying, well, we have attestation of Israelites back then, you see. And you mentioned
I mean,
Israel.
we do. I mean, we do, but it's not saying Israelite verbatim. That's when you got to be a mature researcher and understand what's being told to you. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
know
but
it
but
doesn't say
but but I,
Israelite.
I feel I feel like I am a mature researcher, but it's fine if you disagree with me. But when we say, can you show us Israelites in history, or when some people say Israelites don't exist in history, then I guess you cannot disagree with that. And I guess you can say, well, there's no term for Israelites, there's a term for Israel. You see, but
Yeah,
you
Israelite. You're not gonna find. That's like when somebody says Israel is stolen from Egypt because it's Isis, Ra, and El. Now, when a person tell me that, I laugh because I know they're not really studying the information because this is an English translation. So that's what kind of what you're doing, Shaka, and I'm surprised. You're asking
oh
me where does it say Israelite, and we all know Israelite is a modern term linguistically speaking. We're not going to find that. We're going to find Yasharal. We're going to
and
find
Brother,
and
brother
I'm
Gideon.
and yeah, no, hold on,
David.
please, hold on, please, radio one. Hold that thought, please. Now, Gideon, I think we're coming to an understanding, and that's fine. You said there's no term for Israelites, right? Now,
Right,
that part of the Mesha Stela talks about the king of Israel, right?
right.
So Israel is attested at least in the Mesha Stela, right? Earlier you mentioned Israel is wasted. So obviously you were talking about the Mer and Petah Stele, right?
Well, when I said I was speaking of the house of Omri, so I was speaking that it said that the house of Yasharal, or rather Omri of Yasharal, was basically laid waste. And when you're speaking of the king of Yasharal, that's what I was speaking to, that particular source. So it's two. I will have to look at my sources because you have the Meripatah and you have the Mobite stone, which is also known as the Misha Steeler. The Misha Stela speaks of Yasharal is laid waste, and the Mern Patasta Stele. I will have to look at that again. But again, I'm on my phone. I'm just freestyling.
Yeah, I think actually it says it has on the Miriam Pita still it says it has no seed. Now I'm not sure where waste is, but maybe it is on the Mobile Stone. I have the translation here, or maybe they use another word, but I think actually there's something similar. Hold on. Uh, okay, but never mind. Now on the Miriam Pita are you aware that it doesn't spell Israel? It looks like he's frozen, so feel free to leave and come back if you can hear us. Well, Radio One, feel free to make your point. I mean, I think you wanted
Yeah.
to address directly.
Yes. Yeah.
Gideon. Yes.
To Gideon. Okay. Now what you're doing is, okay, you're beating around the bush and you're ignoring what really matters. Okay. And what really matters is, regardless of Israel being mentioned, Judah being mentioned, what really matters is it is irrelevant to you, because it is irrelevant to you because your ancestors and our ancestors came from West Africa during this time. Okay, when the Exodus was going on, or during the Babylonian captivity, the Assyrian captivity, our ancestors were in West Africa. Okay, and
Now
I'm
hold on,
telling
hold
you,
on. Radio One. I think the brother Gideon is back, but
yeah,
okay. Now Gideon stated that we don't have no, any term that will be translated as Israelites. He said that it is Israel. Now,
No, I said you
Gi-
won't find Israelites verbatim, but you will find terms like Yasharal and be
there you
translated
go.
as Israelites.
okay, I hear you. I hear you. Now, what makes you say that the Israelites were black?
Well, all the evidence that we see, uh,
Like
or
what?
rather, the earliest evidence that we see describes them as being black people. Unless
Can
you
you
think
can,
the
can you
ancient
show us, please?
Egyptians, unless you think the ancient Egyptians or the Ethiopians were a white people.
Gideon, I'm sure you have seen Beni Hassan's painting, right?
Which one? What's
Okay, I'm going to show you right now. Beni Hassan's painting. I'm sure you know it, but it's okay. Uh, in the night, images. Now that's the one here. I'm about to share it now. Oh, hold on. Share screen. Beni Hassan. There we go. So here, that probably rings a bell to you.
let me see? I can't see it. Okay,
Continue.
that's with the is that the Hybaru?
Well, I would say Hyksos, Hekakasut. Some people have argued that maybe they were happy rule. They were doing linguistic acrobatics and linguistic gymnastics, thinking that happy rule or haparu is the etymology of Hebrew. But here, that on the far right, that's the original. But a lot of time we see the reproduction because this is around 1900 BC. You see, so it's not in mint condition. But if we look at the reproduction, hold on, that's what we have. We have the Egyptian at the front, and we have the Amu, which means Asiatics. But here specifically, we have the scepter, which stands for Heka. We have the here, which is the phonetic complement of the K, the sound K, and then we have the here, which is Hesed. So this basically says Heka Chesed or Heka Hasut is the same. Hasut is basically the plural. And Heka Chesed or Heka Hasut is what the Greeks call Hyksos. You see? And in the British Museum, it says, and I've shared it, that the Hyksos are of Palestinian descent. And everybody can check. Hyksos is spelled Hyksos. Britannica Encyclopedia online, it says that the Hyksos were of Palestinian descent. So those are actually Canaanites. Do they look black to you? Are you still with us, Brother Gideon? Okay, I think he froze. Well, we have Chef and Chris MVP Harris. Chef came first, so feel free to speak, Chef, and then we're gonna hear from Chris MVP Harris.
Because I know he deal with this better than I do, so I'll let him go. Oh, my bad. Chris can go, y'all. What's going on, everybody? Chris can go. I know he deal with this subject way better than I do, so I want to hear what he got to say.
Yes, feel free, Chris.
All right. Now, Merneptah was the son of Ramses II. He was the son of Ramses II. These chronologies that these Hebrews or these Israelites try to set up is weird to me. They're very, very weird. Now he's saying that Merneptah was the one that came in there and destroyed Israel. Now, here's the funny thing. That's nowhere in the biblical narrative. So now the burden of proof is going to be on him, because you have to show it to me in your biblical story. Because here's what gets funny, and I want to let everybody know that's listening. The burden of proof is always on the person saying something existed without any proof. Think about this. Merneptah destroys Israel. It's nowhere in the Bible. It's not in the Bible in the book of Kings. It's not in the book of Chronicles. It's nowhere in there. I'm going to tell you guys why. Merneptah, when he traveled into Jezreel, the Jezreel Valley, if you pull this up, you'll see that's speaking about the Jezreel Valley, and that when Sir Flanders Petrie translated that, he clearly it does not say Israel, right? That does not mention Israel. The people who were translating that said it meant that, but the timeline would be off because Israel don't exist until David is born. David is born in the 1st century, according to the biblical scholars, the 1st century BCE. This is when he would have been born, albeit we know he doesn't exist. But Merneptah is a lot born in the 12th century BCE.
So Chris, hold on, Chris. I think you made a slight mistake. You said King David. That wouldn't be the 1st century BC. That would be more probably 10th century BC.
Okay, excuse me. Did I say that? My bad. My bad.
Yeah,
1st millennium BCE. My bad. 1st millennium BCE. He was born in the 1st millennium BCE. Now, excuse me. Merneptah, he was born at the end of the 13th century BCE. Let me get the dates correct here. All right. You guys weren't even in existence yet. There was no kingdom of Israel yet. And when we look at Omri's kingdom, they never mention a King David. They never mention a Solomon. They never mention an Exodus. They never mention anything like that in their records. They were a polytheistic community, civilization. So now you guys are trying to lay claim to Omri's kingdom. That's weird to me. So when the Assyrians came in the 7th century and they destroyed that Samaria, because that's what it was actually called, Samaria, kingdom of Samaria, what happened? They ran south. The people went south. And that's when all these writings begin to happen, sometimes in the 6th or 5th century BCE. So this has nothing, the Merneptah stele has nothing to do with a group of people called the Israelites. With people like Gideon, and I don't mean to say people like Gideon, what gentlemen like Gideon tend to do is they grab bits and pieces of history around that area and they try to shoehorn the biblical narrative into it. But we don't have any evidence of the biblical narrative in the historical record. That's the key. Anonymous Hebrew does all that time traveling, and now Gideon is on here doing all that time traveling. And somehow he's trying to place the burden of evidence on us by saying, or on Shaka, and he asked the question, so are you saying the Ethiopians and Egyptians are white? No, 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 no. All you got to do is show us Israelites in Egypt or Israelites calling themselves Israelites in the first millennium BCE. Show us people in the Judean hillside region calling themselves Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, or any of that. The Merneptah stele is not enough to say that this kingdom of Israel that was produced by King David existed. Last fact, and I'm going to leave it alone. When Israel Finkelstein and Neil Silberman did the excavations over there in Judea, they said at the time Israel or Samaria was a thriving kingdom in the 9th century BCE. They said Judea was a small hillside community. And they said the archaeology proved it. They said Samaria, this is what they said. They said Samaria was a modern civilization with thousands of people living there. They said Judea was a small countryside, population. They said it could not have served as the vehicle kingdom for Israel, where the 10 tribes went to stay for a remainder of time. They clearly said that. They said it was impossible. So I'll let Gideon take the floor.
And Gideon, welcome back. Just for the record, I've been learning the meta nature for many years. I'm giving meta nature classes, and I invite anybody to contact an Egyptologist that has an PhD in Egyptology. We do have the determinative, and I'm talking about the Mern stele. We have the determinative of the sitting man and a woman, plus the mark of the plural, the 3 strokes. So it's definitely not talking about the place, but it is talking about people. And phonetically, it spells ECDR. So indeed, I agree with Chris. Early on, they were looking for validation for the Bible. So they figured, okay, it sounds kind of somehow close to Israel. So let's say it is Israel. But once again, it is ECDR, and it's not a place, but it is people, because the grammar of the Medu Nature or hieroglyphic is very precise. It's definitely not talking about the place, but about people. But feel free to speak, Brother Gideon.
Right. So again, what I don't want us to do, I want us to stick to information that's verified. The people known as the Yuhadim are a verified people that actually existed in the Levant. The population size, the origin of the language, we're not going to get into that. What I'm getting into is that we know that people called Yuhadim lived in the Levant, which was a nation until 70 AD, but at that time it was under the vassalage of other kingdoms. But those people existed. And we can get
Well,
into the American
Gideon, can you hold on? No, we have a hard time hearing you, brother. Are you using a headset?
No, should I use a headset?
Maybe it might help. We really have a hard time hearing you.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, Shaka. I think what it is it's that background noise coming from somebody else's.
Oh, let me see. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was one. Okay, it was Chef. So, Gideon, feel free. Yeah. Thank you, Brother Radio One. Gideon, can you hear me? Yeah, it was the background noise actually that was stopping us from hearing you.
Yeah.
Even though your sound is a bit low, but you're muted, Gideon. I don't know if you know that. Um, can you hear us, Gideon? You're on mute, Gideon. Um, I'm gonna ask him, but I
No,
think he used.
I was.
Oh yeah.
Let me
Gideon,
see.
can you hear us?
Is that a little better?
Oh, that's a lot better. Thank you very much. Now, Gideon, please,
Okay.
can you tell us the term that you've used, like Yehuda, right?
Right.
Okay. What's
Which
the
came to be
date?
known as Jew.
Of course. What's the date for this attestation, please?
For what? The Yudah Hadim?
Yes, that word that you use. Yes. What's the date for the attestation?
Well, that comes pretty much after the destruction of the first temple. We
What
see
date would
that.
that be? More or less, it doesn't have to be the exact date. You can give and take a decade. You can give and take 50 years. Even give and take 100 years. A century is fine.
Well, just off the top of my head, we have people like Stray mentioned the Jews. Have people like Tacitus a little later mention the Jews, and when
Okay,
they are
okay,
mentioning them
that's
as already
okay.
an
Okay,
ancient
okay,
people.
okay. I think there's a misunderstanding now. Now Tacitus writing, I think that comes centuries after his lifetime. But so you're not aware of any record that mentions that, right? Like, let me double check
Well,
Tacitus.
you right. Well,
Tacitus.
again, like I
This,
said, you have which is BC, if I'm not mistaken.
okay, come again, please.
You would have Strabo, which is second century BC, if I'm not mistaken, who mentions the
First century
Yuhadin.
BC.
So you're looking for explicit mentions of Yuhadin, right?
But Strabo is indeed yes. I'm looking for an attestation for that word that you've used. Indeed. Now Strabo
Right.
was born circa 60 BC, 64 BC. So
Right.
And
Yeah,
Tacitus was
GC.
born 56 AD.
yes, and Chris MVP Harris, if you don't mind reminding us, the attestation of Jesus that they attribute to Tacitus, that comes in the work of somebody else, like in maybe 500 AD. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, but
No, that
that's we're not speaking of that. We're speaking of Jerusalem and Judah
Okay,
and
okay. Let's leave
Jude.
that. Let's leave that then. I agree with you. Let's leave that.
Right.
Now, so the attestation for the word that you say Yuhadin, right? That we translate as Judah in English. What is the attestation? Or, I mean, what is the text?
It
What is the
speaks of the
text?
city. It
No,
speaks
but
of the city.
yeah, but what is the text?
It would be geography.
I'm coming. Oh, so historiography. You mean Strabo, right?
Correct.
Okay, so Strabo, and I'm going to show it to the people so they can see. So it means that the oldest attestation you can tell us of Judah or maybe Judeans, that would be 60 BC, right?
Right. That's
Okay.
what I have off the top of the dome. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, and I'm happy with that. So it's not ancient history. It's not during the.
Because you have things that don't say Jew or Judah, but is speaking of the nation of Israel as early as like I say 8th century BC. You have the Merpatah Stela, you have the Moabite stone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hold on. Hold
yeah,
on. Now the
those are
Mobile
all connected, but you're asking
no.
for a
Yeah.
specific mention of Jew, right?
The Mobile stone is dated somewhere around 800 BC.
No, the Moabite 840. Then you have the Merpatah Stela, which is
Mm.
a little old.
Yeah. Yeah. But once
It's
again, the
have
Merpatah
Assyrian
stele.
records.
Yeah, the okay, maybe Assyrian records. I'll be happy to know about this, but the Merpatah stele does not talk about Israel, and it does not even talk about Israelites for that matter. But
Wait, I'm
even for
sorry.
those,
Say that again.
yeah, the Merpatah stele, and I can show it is better so people can see it. So I'm going to share the screen here. Strabo.
it just speaks about Yahweh.
Oh,
That's it.
hold on.
Talks about taking the vessels of Yahweh.
Now here, Merpatah stele. That's the article. Here, this is the part where it says, the sea being laid waste. Now, is it showing? Yes. Now, this is the E sound. The double relief is the E sound, transliterated with a Y. The door or bolt lock is the S sound, S. The double strokes here is transliterated with the I is the sound E. The R, I'm sorry, the mouth is the sound R. The relief is the sound E, transliterated with the I or a J. The virtue is the sound R. The mouth is the same as the previous one, is the sound R. Now, it spells phonetically Isiriar. Here they've put, well, that's what they put here. The Y is the sound E. So they only missed.
Okay, so now you're going to Medu Netter, where I've heard some people who teach Medu Neter say that there's in Medu Neter that they can't even translate because the European has not translated it yet.
But yet you use, hold on, Shaka, but yet
what we're
use,
not going to do, we're not going to have an
hold on, let him
exercise
go, Shaka.
of what you think the Medu Neter says when we see it consistently attested as to being Israel. But I mean, you know, if you want to have a picture contest, you know Medu Neter better than everybody else. We can do that, which is why I didn't even much want to have this I want to go to where we are already established.
Well, okay, Gideon, let's
can I say something real quick? Can I say something
right there instead of going into this murky prehistory,
give me a chance,
Gideon. Ancestry, which the scant evidence. Like this is crazy because hold on. The Dakota culture.
You gotta.
We base a whole
Gideon. Let me speak. I'm letting you speak. Yeah,
go ahead.
So hold on. Chris MVP, just hold that thought, please. Now, Gideon, you use the Mern Petastella for the attestation of Israel. When I'm showing you what it spells, you're telling me that it hasn't been deciphered. So it's a bit illogical to me.
But other people translate it as Shaka.
Okay.
Just because you, so I'm supposed to listen to you.
Okay.
Better different than everybody else.
Well.
Go ahead.
Well, feel free to ask any Egyptologist what the seated man and seated woman stand for, and the three strokes. That's the mark of the plural. This shows that it's talking about people. Even if it said Israel, it's not talking about the place, but it's talking about some people. So at least they will translate it as Israelites or whatever they want, or people of Israel. But this is not talking about a place. That's what I want you to know. Now, the people who translated it as Israel were people like I think MVP said Petrie.
Okay, Petrie. So this is what you do.
Hold on. They were.
That's why I say we got to be mature. So it's speaking of a people, right? So if we go to the Misha Stealer, the Misha Stealer is talking of a king of those people. So when you do 1 plus 1,
Gideon,
it's 2.
He's talking about the king.
The Misha Stealer says Amri, king of Israel.
Yes, a place, not the people. It's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same.
Merpatah Stella is using the same word to describe a people. And when you look at our records, the Merpatah Stella,
Gideon,
he just said it speaks of a people. So you're
Gideon. This is
right. So he's disagreeing with you, Shaka.
Of the Misha Stela.
Now, speaking of a people, right?
The term for Israel, what is it?
Shaka, I just asked you a question, my brother.
There it is. Omri, that's number 5 here. Number 5 here.
Oh, the
Merpatah Stela is speaking of Israel as a people, right?
That threw me off. So, damn, how do you start that?
Shaka, if you don't mind me saying something.
Okay.
Let me say this real quick.
Serious stuff. So line 5.
Tell him why you don't agree with him, Chris.
No, but it's okay. Now, Gideon, look at this. We have Yish, and that dot on top of the S, I presume it's like the sh sound. But whether it's the sh sound or the s sound, we have the ayin before the
I'm
L.
on my phone and I really can't see, Shaka. What's that? The Merpatah Stela?
It's the Misha Stele. Now, the Misha Stele says Melech, just like the Arabic Malik, it's the same root. Yisrael, you see. The Merpatah Stela says Isiria. So contrary to what you said, it is not the same word. But even in presuming that it says Israel, let me give you that. What makes you say?
Bro.
Come again?
Chaka, bro. Those are 2 different languages.
Yeah, but earlier you said that it's the same word, but it's okay. It's okay.
It is 2 different languages. Anybody would tell you that, Shaka. That's what I'm saying. But
I know it's 2 different languages.
We got to be mature. Okay.
I'm trying to be mature with you, but didn't you say it's the same word, Brother Gideon?
He did.
Yes, it is. Okay. It's the same word in 2 different languages.
Well, I'm telling you that it is not the same word, because here we have the transliteration, and we've seen the transliteration also of the Merpatah Stele, and it says Isiria. But even in presuming that it says Israel, let me give you that for the sake of the argument. What makes you say that those people were black?
Good, and that's what we're trying to get to. All right.
And why is that important? What color they are? Why is that important to you? What color they are?
We get to that later. I want to know. No. Forget about the second question.
Lineage.
No, hold on.
What if I would be claiming a lineage that comes from Europeans, that would be asinine. That would be like me calling myself yeah, crazy. I'm not built like that. Like the
Now,
Israelites
now,
were a black people, and that can be proven, and it would have to be the case if I'm claiming
Prove it. Prove it.
descendancy from that,
okay,
unless
well, please prove it to us. Please show us, because here I'm showing you an original artifact that's dated 900 1900 BC, 1900 BC. It's in the tomb of Khnum-Hotep, and the place is known as Beni Hassan. So we do have the original on the far right, and you can compare the original. How the ancient Egyptians look, they look way darker. But we have, of course, many times we see the reproductions. So on the reproduction, we see them looking like typical Asiatics, and we have plenty of depictions of Asiatics from ancient Egypt, and they look white skinned. So the evidence shows white skinned people. What makes you say that those inhabitants of Canaan were black people?
okay, so Chaka, those are not Israelites right there. For the simple fact that
Okay,
the Israelites were not a people until the 13th, 14th century BCE. So that right
What?
there, yeah, we were not even a people in 1900 BC, Shaka.
okay, all right. So you're saying that the Canaanites are not Israelites.
Wait,
You
wait, wait,
said,
wait. Who took it in hell? Because it sounds like they can't comprehend that concept.
Okay,
oh,
let me
well,
say something real
okay,
quick,
go ahead,
Shaka.
Christian
Abraham,
Gutierrez. Go ahead,
Hey,
Christian
Abraham,
BP.
Shaka.
Go
our
ahead, go ahead.
patriarch,
All right.
was not born until the 1900s BC, and
Okay.
Abraham was not an Israelite.
Okay. Thank.
Abraham had a son named Isaac. Isaac had a son named Jacob. Jacob had 12 children.
We
Those
know the
children
story.
are the
We know the
Israelites.
story.
The
Okay. Thank you.
Israelites
They
did
didn't
not
Prove they
agree
come
were
with
into
black,
you.
being
brothers.
until
Prove
the
they were black.
14th century BC.
Okay, guys, this is the problem when you all let the Israelite brothers come on these panels. Y'all let them do all this time traveling, jumping up and down the timeline. He's talking about the Mesha stele. He's talking about the Moabite stele. He's talking about the Merneptah stele. None of these writings are indigenous to the Israelites. All he has to do is show us indigenous writings. Now he's in the 19th century BCE. So he starts off talking about the Merneptah stele, which is the 12th century BCE. Now he's gone back 700 years and he's talking about Abraham. Now he talks about the Moabite stele. They go up and down the timeline. Well, when you begin to talk about Abraham, once again, your Bible falls into what we call
He asked the
anachronisms. Excuse
where do
me.
we
I
find
never,
evidence of
hold
it?
on,
So you
one more
got to
time.
present the
Okay, thank
evidences
you.
at different periods of time, just
Good.
accepting
It's
the
at
information.
different
But go ahead.
periods of time, but yet Abraham is fighting against the Philistines. Philistines don't arrive into that area until the 12th century BCE, archaeologically proven. Then he's fighting against a king named King Chedorlaomer, who does not appear on
Show us the
any
archaeology that
historical.
shows the Philistines didn't
Excuse
come
me,
there.
Gideon.
Because I just
Excuse.
specifically showed
Do y'all see how?
archaeological evidence of the
Okay.
Israelites, and I bet he can't show you the evidence.
Okay.
Damn.
Excuse
Well,
me.
Yo,
I
you
can
Hold
show
on.
you
talking
some.
over
Hold on.
him, bro.
I
You
can
One
show
talking
second.
you.
over him, man.
I can show you
Excuse
some
me.
archaeological evidence for the
Shaka.
area.
You may
Yes.
wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Then I'll let you
Feel
guys
free, Chris.
go.
Yes.
All
Feel
right.
free, Chris.
Then now he's listen to what he just said. He just said, show us the archaeological evidence. And we've been up here doing all the showing, but
Exactly.
he hasn't been doing any of the proving. That's why I keep saying, guys, don't let them run up and down the timelines like this. They make us do all this work, but yet they never come around and show you any primaries. All he has to do is show us indigenous writings in the first millennium BCE. That's all he has to do. The Bible says that Moses wrote books. The Bible says that Joshua wrote books. The Bible says that David wrote books. Just show us these books that they've written and show us the indigenous writings. Don't show us any Phoenician. Don't show us any cuneiform. Stop showing us Medunetter. Stop showing us other cultures inferring or what you think are inferring to these so-called people that go by the name of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Gad, Naphtali, and all that other stuff. Just show us the indigenous records. Hold them to that. We don't have to be so scholastic with them because in the indigenous writings in Egypt, we could show you the Harris papyrus. We could show you the papyrus of Hunefer. We could show you the 42 laws of Maat. We can show you the pyramid text. We could show you the coffin text. We can go into all these indigenous cultures. We can go into the Ugaritic text. We could show you all the indigenous writings. But when it comes to them, they can't show you anything. They can't.
Now, Gideon, you're back. Now, uh, Gideon, okay,
But no, this is what I'm saying, Shaka, my
okay, well,
brother. I
okay,
just
well,
laid out several pieces of evidence stating the Israelites were in the area. Now, Chris,
well,
he's
well,
saying no,
well,
that's not
well,
true.
hold on.
And then he goes
Let's
on,
let's
hold on, and then
no no
he presents a source, and I'm asking him to show us the source that states that the Philistines were not in the area during the time of Abraham. Show us the source.
well,
That's
well,
all I'm
I mean,
asking.
brother.
hold on, hold on. I want to focus on the Israelites. Now, you have not shown the term Israelites. You move from Israelite to Judea, and that's from Strabo. That's like 60 BC, right?
Because
Then,
in the beginning it was Israel, and then it split, Chaka.
yeah,
It
but
split into
okay,
Samaria
okay,
and Judah,
okay. So far, we have the
or
Mishnah
rather
Stela.
Israel and Judah.
Yeah, we have the Mishnah Stela that talks about the king of Israel. It's a place, not a people, right? Now, when I ask you what makes those people black, what makes you say that they are black, I've shown you an artifact. But when I shown you artifact and I mentioned it is 1900 BC, you said the Israelites were not there before at least 1400 BC. Then you talked about Abraham. Abraham comes from
Right, which is
Ur.
a fact, right?
Okay,
That's
okay.
true, right?
No, no, it's not a fact. It's what is written in the
No,
Bible.
the Israelites were not around in 1900 BC, Shaka.
Okay, so basically you're saying that the
Correct?
Canaanites are not Israel, right? Is that what you're saying? I'm
No,
sorry, the Canaanites are not
The
Israelites.
Canaanites, yeah, we don't come from Canaan. We lived in the
Okay,
land of
okay,
Canaan,
okay.
and we were at times called Canaanites, but we
Okay,
did not come from Canaan.
where does Abraham come from?
Abraham, he comes from Shem, the line of Shem.
No, the place where it comes from.
He comes from Kasdim,
Okay, thank you. Now on the screen, and I've shared the link in the chat. This is the British Museum. This is the standard of right? Now the date is 2500 BC, right? And this is how they depicted themselves. So are those the black Israelites that you're talking about? That's where Abraham comes from. That's how they look like.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't phenotypically ascribe that to no European people.
I didn't talk about European. Now, understand, European doesn't mean exclusively white. You have white people in Asia. If you look at the king of Saudi Arabia, he's white, but he is in Asia. So I know in America, a lot of people say white for you. I mean, European, as if it's interchangeable with white. But we're talking about Asia right now, you know. So once again, even in presuming that those Israelites existed in history, and so far the earliest you have been able to go back is the writing of Strabo. You know, now that's a date for Strabo. I'm not even sure if his writing exists during 60 BC. But once again, what makes you say that they are black? When we look at the archaeological document, the data, we clearly see them. I've shown you two archaeological documents: the painting that Beni Hassan, 1900 BC, and the box with some people painting on it, 2500 BC from Ur, where Abraham is from. And on both those archaeological documents, they are white skinned. So what makes you say that they were black?
Right. I mean, like I say, man, when you're looking at that, I think they call that the war, the something of that's from
The
right?
standard of yes, it's in the
The
British
standard
Museum.
of right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you say that's like what, 20, like mid 25th
That's 2500 BC,
Right, right,
2500 BC. Yes.
right. So that's one piece of evidence, right? That we have, and we totally see that those people do not look like me, right? But they, look. So according to the evidence that we have, during that time, Ur was the center of civilization, right? That was ruled by Nimrod, and it was basically a world government. So, I mean,
Hold on, Gideon. Do you remember my question? My question is, what makes you say that they are black?
okay, this is what I'm getting at, right? So
Okay.
when you look at the specific information in regards to Abraham, Abraham comes from Shem, a Shemitic father, and a Cushitic woman. All through written history and archaeological finds on the walls from Egypt, Libya, Ethiopia, all across the Cushitic people have always been known to be black.
All right,
Now,
hold that
when you
thought,
look
please.
at when you look at when you look at
Hold on, please, Gideon. You said Abraham comes from Shem and a Cushitic woman, right? That's what you said, right?
correct, correct.
Okay, where do you get that from?
It's in our histories. It's
Where?
in
What's
it's
the text?
you would have to go and get it out of the book of uh not Jubilees, but the book of Jasher. It speaks of Abraham's father, which is in the Bible, comes from Arxphad, which is a Shemite, and we know that the Kasdim are a people of Cushitic stock, and they say that they were not in the area at that time like the Philistines. But what Chris has to understand is that people just don't pop out of the ground from nowhere. What Chris is looking at the archaeological finds that
brother,
speak
brother,
to
Jubilees is a pseudo
brother.
Bible, brother. That's a
I just
pseudo
want to get
Bible.
some clarity. Hold on. I want to get some clarity. Now you're saying that in the Bible it says that Abraham had a Cushitic mother, right?
no, I said in the Bible it says he has a Shemitic father
Yes, and the mother is Cushitic. That's what you said.
and the mother is Cushitic. The Bible
All
doesn't
right.
say where his mother's lineage comes from.
Oh, so you made that up then?
No, but in the book of Jasher, it speaks of his mother being a Cushitic princess
Okay.
rather.
Pseudo
Okay. Now,
Bible.
what's the passage, please? I want to have a look.
Uh man, it's been a while, bro. The book of Jasher. I would have to get that, man. See, these are things that
You
if you
see?
really wanna if you really want to look into it, you can find it. You
You
know
know,
what I'm saying?
Gideon,
Prove
with
Like,
that
all
the
due
Israelites
respect,
were black.
with,
Prove
with,
that the
with all due
Israelites were
respect,
black.
Gideon, it sounds like you made that up to me. I
Facts.
Nah, I
never in
didn't.
my life heard Abraham having a Cushitic mother, you know. But it's okay. Take your time to look for this source, this thing here, because maybe
Yeah,
it's in
we
the
need
Bible,
that.
and I
Chris
just
can
haven't.
probably tell you. He could. That's
Well,
why I
okay.
don't know
Well,
why
that's Chris.
he's
Have you
probably
ever
on
heard
his
of?
forklift right now. But
Okay, well, it doesn't matter
Hold
if he's
on.
on his forklift. Work is work. I've worked doing physical labor.
no,
I
I
mean,
drove a forklift. I drive. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean it ain't no
Okay, okay.
problem.
Actually, I'm at home.
Well, there we go.
Oh,
There we go.
okay.
But Chris, have you ever heard of Abraham having a Cushitic mother?
First of all, he made all. We gonna say this, and anybody that's been on my channel, what up, Chef? Shout out
What
to
up?
you. Check it out. What Gideon just did, he just took a bunch of facts. He grabbed them all together, a bunch of facts that ain't even that you can't even synthesize, and he put it in a whisker bag, and he shush 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 shush, and he threw it all at everybody. And then in order to when he can't prove something, he got to throw ad hominems at people. All right, telling me what I don't understand. Now, the first thing I want everybody to understand is the Bible or the so-called Septuagint was put together by the Greeks. That's why you have so many Greek inferences in this story of these 12 tribes of Israel. This is easy. And I'm going to do a presentation tomorrow morning on the 12 tribes of Israel on my morning coffee, and I'm going to kill this thing. And I'm going to show everybody how this 12 tribes of Israel is of Greek influence in the stories that they were borrowed from using Plato's laws. This is simple and easy work, and this is why he can't show you anything.
But I
Yo,
thought
chef,
it was Egyptian.
chef,
It was
if
still
I
in Greek.
wanted to, excuse me, That's the one thing I know about you Israelites. Y'all ain't got no discipline. Y'all cannot sit down and wait. All right. Then now he's saying, I thought it was Egyptian. Well, here's my argument, counter argument to you. We thought it was Hebrew.
No, I'm
Why
saying
just
you're
ain't
making
Hebrew?
claims. 1 minute y'all
Okay, no,
say it's
Gideon,
stealing from
Gideon,
the
excuse me,
Egyptians,
Gideon. I'm
then the
talking,
next minute you say it's
Gideon,
stolen from the
Gideon,
Greeks. Like
respectfully.
these,
You guys hear this guy?
I can see
Shaka,
we
you
still
gotta
have
start
VCR
muting him.
tapes and all this stuff, man. But
Hey,
now we
Gideon,
got the
hey,
internet, bro.
Shaka,
Like
you
it's
gotta
at
mute
your
him, man.
fingertips.
He's cut
Well,
Go
right
ahead.
now.
well,
I'm
well,
on mute.
All
Yeah,
right.
he's just
So
talking over people, man.
yeah, but
yeah,
it's
we
it's
gotta
okay.
stop this.
It's okay. Now we know it's actually good that he speaks because he said something that's amazing to me about Abraham's mother being Kushitic.
I
Now
ain't
here
never heard none of
And why
that.
he
yeah,
believed it too.
yeah,
That's why
and
y'all gotta let him talk, y'all.
yeah, that's why it's good for him to
Y'all
talk. But
definitely gotta let him talk.
yeah, yeah, and for the record here on Wikipedia, the parents of Abraham, his father is
Morning,
Terah,
Kushitic. Jumping
and his
on.
mother, according to the Talmud, is Amatlai. So while Gideon breaks it down for us, I'm going to look up Amatlai and I'm going to see if she's Cushitic. So feel free, Gideon. Feel free.
See, that's why you just gotta let him talk. Go
Hey,
ahead. The
Chef,
mic
yeah,
on,
you gotta let him
Gideon.
talk. Yeah, just let him talk. He quiet now. He ain't got nothing to say.
Nah, I'm just waiting for y'all to verify what I just said. That's all.
No,
He,
yeah,
he
we
said
just
he
did.
believed something. He said
The,
he believed something because it was in his book.
the burden of truth is on you, Gideon. I mean, hey, Gideon, you know what? Right now, you have the right to say, hey, I made a mistake. You don't have to say, I made that up. You can say, I made a mistake and we
No,
can move on.
I didn't make. I ain't make that up, bro. But
Oh, he gonna stand on it.
So you're going to stand
yeah,
that Abraham's mother is Cushitic.
right.
All right. And that's in the Bible, right?
No, in the book of Jasher.
Well, the book of Joshua, isn't it in the Bible?
No.
Okay, so but earlier Gideon said it's in the Bible, didn't he?
No, he
No, I
A
said it was
never.
book.
in the book of
He
Jasher.
believed it
Okay,
because it was in a book.
Right,
okay,
That's
my
it.
right.
bad. So he didn't say it's in the Bible. Okay, all right. Well, okay, Gideon is still there. All right. So, well, that's amazing. 2023. I've heard a revelation. I'm wondering why all the people who claim that the Hebrews were black did not mention that Abraham's mother was Cushitic. But
If he can prove that, case closed.
well, I guess that would be case closed. Yeah.
Case
Yeah,
So
closed.
yeah, that would be case
Hey,
closed.
Chef, would you say if you mentioning you done read 10 of them books, you can give me at least 2 of them, right?
Exactly.
And check this out. Again, it's not even Kemetic people saying this stuff. These people are undermining themselves.
They
It doesn't,
undermined it.
it's like, what is this?
So, my brother, give me one example of Kemetic people saying stuff.
No,
Oh my
we still
God.
on the book of Jasher
Yeah,
and the
no, yeah,
Cushitic
that's
mother of
definitely, yeah,
Abraham.
nah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's definitely
We
no
ain't
doubt.
moving
Now,
off of that.
But I just want to
yeah,
ask
yeah.
this brother in passing, like, just give me
No,
an
that's gonna take
example
the
of
conversation
Kemetic
somewhere
stuff
else.
being written while I pull it up, because
No,
I
no, no.
gotta type,
Listen,
No, we
listen.
gonna
I
wait till
gotta
you
Okay,
type
pull
it
okay,
that
up.
up.
okay.
And,
I
Well, we
made a
have
statement. You didn't state what I said. That's the thing. You're asking me something I didn't even say. What I said is that it's not Kemetic people undermining Hebrew Israelites, NOI, Moore Science Temple. It's them undermining each other through their own beliefs and their own made up history. It's them.
wait,
It's not
I'm
up to
lost.
it's not up to Kemetic people to prove you wrong. You have to prove yourself right. That's the thing.
Prove ourselves right as what? Being a people, being
It's not
black.
up to Kemetic
No,
people to
proving
prove
that
your
Abraham
argument
mother
wrong.
was Cushitic.
Okay, all right.
That's what.
now, if you want some examples of Kemetic people writing, I mean, I've shown many artifacts, many artifacts from the Louvre Museum, but we have the Papyrus of Ani. That's what people call the Book of the Dead. It's in the British Museum. I mean, we have the Mern Petastella that you mentioned. This is Kemetic
What
people.
does the Book of the Dead teaches us, Shaka?
The
And
book
It
how
of
don't
can we
teach
use
us.
that?
It
the
don't
book of
teach us
coming
that
forth.
Abraham mother was Cushitic.
Yeah, it doesn't
Right,
teach
nah,
that indeed.
it definitely don't teach that.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
yeah, but it sounds like
So
you're deflecting right now,
what does it
because
teach?
well, it's a compilation of spells. But here we have the Maxims of Ptah
Okay,
who
so
tell
we using
it.
spells. What is a spell?
All right. So obviously you're trying to get away from your claim, right?
No, I'm
You're
I'm
trying to get
I'm
away from your
I'm
claim. All right.
no,
Now,
I'm about
now,
to pull it up right now. I'm pulling it up as we speak, actually.
oh, for real? About Abraham's mother?
Right.
Brother
Oh, I can't
Gideon,
wait.
Gideon,
I
you
can't wait.
Oh, he
Hold on,
about
hold on. Wait,
look.
wait,
What?
wait.
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
we're
Once
about to
he
get a
show
world
this, it's
premiere.
over, y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna have a world premiere. In the meantime, we have the Torah.com,
yeah.
and they're telling us about the name of Abraham's mother. Hold on.
This is over.
Here, I want to
What's
read
his
something
name?
real quick. I want to read something from the Jewish magazine, and this is what it says. The name of Abraham's mother is not mentioned in the Bible. That's the first thing it tells you. So we would like to know where you get this from. Not
That,
only
that,
does hold on, watch
I
this.
don't know if
Watch this.
y'all
It
when
says
y'all
it
being
says not only
class
does
like
she remain
that's
nameless, but her very
that's
existence
crazy.
is only hinted at in the Torah. She does not appear during the story of Abraham's birth in Genesis 11 and 26, but is mentioned only when Abraham explains to Abimelech, a king, a Philistine king of Gerar. There go those Philistines again. That Sarah is his sister from his father's side, but not from his mother's side. Now, watch this. The sages of the Talmud record that her name was Amathai, the daughter of Karanbu, and that she became the wife of Terah. So now we got sages, right? Which I don't mind, because I love mysticism. You got sages who said these things. So it's not even in your biblical narrative. And the funny thing is, why are you concerned with the matriarchal lineage when the Torah teaches that everything is patriarchal?
Mm,
So you on here trying to
that's a
confuse
dagger.
us. You on here trying to confuse us with this poppy joppy doctrine of yours when you're talking to somebody who studied Talmud, Mishnah, Gemara, Torah, which consists of Torah, Nevi'im, and Kethaim, at a real school with real rabbis. Remember that with me now. This is why when I be hearing you talk, I'm like, if you just stick to the mysticist side of the Bible, right, you will be okay. But you guys try to create these ethnicities out of these theophoric names that they're never really real people to begin with. So you're gonna get into a lot of trouble if you try to prove this stuff. And I don't know why y'all keep trying to prove these things. When this book was being put together, it was being put together at the Library of Alexandria. So people had records and access to other stories to help enhance these teachings. I don't get why you trying to do this. Go look up the name Reuben. Go look up the name Japhet. Go look up the name Gad and go do some real research on those names alone. Start there. And you'll begin to see that these names are theophoric. They have different meanings in their original form. So I'm asking you once again, let's see where he's already failed at. He's already failed to establish that Abraham's mother was a Cushite. He disrespects his own covenant by trying to make the system matriarchal, right? So he's following the white Jews. And then he even disrespects his covenant by not even going through the fatherly line, which is a patriarchal system. He makes mentions of all these historical attestations, but he hasn't proven not one. Then he's playing with a timeline of over, check this out, family, 1,100 years, starting with Abraham. They jump up and down the timeline like it's crazy. All you have to do is show us the indigenous writings, and you'll put us all to bed. That's
So,
it.
so Gideon, I think you had enough time that you bought enough time. We know you're buying time.
Yeah, no,
You say you're gonna.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Okay,
I
so
just
can you
I
show?
just was waiting for him to finish, but I found it and I'm about to
Oh, please share your screen,
yeah.
brother. Feel free. I can't wait.
So like I always say from the beginning, right? It doesn't says who his mother is
But you
in the
said who her
Bible.
mother was.
Right. It doesn't say who his mother is in the Bible, right? But it says I said the book of Jasher, right? So when you look at the book of Jasher and you go to chapter
Can you share the
9,
screen with us, please?
now because if I switch screens on this phone, it's gonna
Okay,
let me see.
let me look for the book of Joshua then.
I got it
Where?
up. I
Okay,
got
Let
well,
me
it up.
try to. Let me
feel
try
free to
to.
share. Can you share a screen, Chris?
Can I share the screen? I can go open up my laptop. Here, let me see if I can
Oh,
share it.
okay. Like, where should I? Which website is it for the Book of Joshua that you're
Just
using,
pull
Gideon?
up Jasher chapter 9, and it'll come right up under
Yeah.
sacredtext.com.
Okay. Are you using sacredtext.com, Brother Gideon? Brother Gideon? Brother Gideon? I want to use the same source. I don't want any confusion or misunderstanding. Because he might say, no, no, I'm using a different translation. We know you're
Gideon is all
buying
over the
time,
place.
Brother Gideon, but
He's all over the
Okay.
place.
All right, okay. Well, I'll go to sacredtext.com. And did he say chapter 9?
He said chapter 9.
So I'm going to put, okay, well, her name is, what is it pronounced again? It is,
All depends on what you mean by 9.
no, is that, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, well, we lost Gideon. He might come back. I think it was a connection issue.
Nah, he
But,
ain't coming, man. Ain't no connection issue. He know he a chef. He know he couldn't prove that
it's like, I gave it a chance. I said, you can say you made a mistake. He said, no, he stood firm on it. So that's chapter 9. What is the name of the mother again? Um,
Man, this
I,
thing
I,
got
I'm, I'm
this
at
thing got
lie.
39 verses in it. And I guarantee you,
Uh,
nowhere in this stuff, hey Radio One, nowhere in this chapter, this garbage, do it say anything about this man's mother being a Cushite. I guarantee
And
you.
But you,
the best tactic for these for people, right, who make claims is let them talk. You don't have to beat
Gotcha.
them up. Let them talk until they cut
no,
themselves, and then you let
but
them
look,
bleed out. You know,
but look, Chef,
you don't
with
switch the topic and give them a band-aid. You let them bleed out. Once they make the you stay right there.
but look, Chef, you're right. But look, he cut off when he asked a question. It wasn't us cutting him off. He he was like cutting anybody off that was answering his question. I found what he was saying. I feel the same way. Let him talk. But I thought there was something interesting. Like, what was his answer when I asked, why is it important that the Israelites are black? Because I just want to know what he thinks. What was the answer?
well,
He
I did not
said
let
that
him
it
answer
was his
that because
ethnicity.
now Andrew Brunet says, look at verse 8. But verse 8, is it chapter 9? Because here I have it there, chapter 9. And if I go to verse 8, and
It says
Terah
in
had
Terra.
12 gods of large size, made of wood and stone, after the 12 months of the year, and he served each one monthly, and every month Terah will bring his meat offering and drink offering to his God. Thus did Terah all the days. So I'm wondering if maybe she means chapter 8. But for the record, on chapter 9, I did not find the name of the mother, who is Amatlai, you know.
Look, I'm
It's,
gonna tell you again. Look, he made that shit up. He made it up, Shaka. He just made all that up. He was just making it up.
yeah,
You see what I'm
that's not
saying?
a good,
Notice,
that's not
I
good.
want.
That's not a
Oh,
good
I'm sorry.
look.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
no, no,
it
go,
ain't
feel
no
free, feel
good
free, feel
look.
free, feel free.
No, this the thing I'm trying to tell y'all. The other day they was on Sonetta trying to prove that Exodus nonsense, and they using the storm stele, also known as the storm stele. They using everything that's not within their culture to try to prove this thing. Like y'all use Egyptian writings, y'all use Moabite writings. Where are your indigenous writings? That's all we want is your indigenous writings. It says that Moses wrote books. It says that David wrote books. It says that Joshua wrote books. Where are the indigenous writings? That's all we want. You can go into every indigenous society and find the indigenous writings. Why can't we find any indigenous writings within this group? That's crazy to me.
That's
That's
because
weird.
because the Greeks made it. Well, Gideon, you're free to come back, but so far you're not looking good, brother. You're making stuff up on the fly. Now, chef, I have a question for you, chef. Now.